Welcome to Melodies of Grace 360. We are so excited to have you join us for our very first live edition entitled Sabbath Grace 360. Wherever you are in the world, thank you for tuning in. I pray that you and your loved ones are having a blessed and a happy Sabbath. Today we bring you two beautiful hymns from the Seventh-day Adventist English and French hymnal. For the English hymnal, it will look like this. This is the 1985 edition, so we have older versions of this hymnal. And for the French speaking, it will look like this: Hymns et louanges. Hymns et louanges. Um, and this is a moment to reflect and to worship and be uplifted through spiritual music. My hope and prayer is that by the end of this live session, and through the work we will continue to do here on this platform, that you will come to appreciate and love the hymn book even more. This channel, my friends, will be focusing not only on music, but also on other topics related to our day-to-day life. So for this reason, to make sure that you and your family members and friends do not miss any content, so please share the live and also subscribe to our channel. The Bible instructs us in Colossians chapter 3, verse 16, and I will put it on the screen so you can read with me. It says, "Let the message of Christ dwell among you richly, as you teach and admonish one another with all wisdom through psalms, hymns, and songs from the Spirit, singing to God with gratitude in your heart." Singing to God with gratitude in your heart. So let's dive right in. Our first hymn for today is hymn number 394 from the Seventh-day Adventist hymnal. And I pray that these melodies be a blessing, or may you be blessed and inspired, uh, and then to love God more as our Creator, our Savior, our Redeemer. And may you find it more than ever before to serve God faithfully as we draw closer to Christ's second coming. Now, the hymns Far From All Care, which is the number 394, is a beloved Seventh-day Adventist Sabbath hymn. And this hymn is often sung in Adventist churches around the world to welcome the Sabbath at sunset on Fridays. Its lyrics reflect the core Seventh-day Adventist beliefs about the sacredness of the Sabbath, the role of God as creator, and the hope of eternal rest. The hymn was written, this hymn 394, Far From All Care, it was written by D.A.R. Frank. He was a physician and a dentist in London. He was a third-generation Adventist. His grandfather was a professor of languages and also a translator. He was one of the first European to convert into the Seventh-day Adventist Church due to the efforts of J.N. Andrews in Switzerland. This hymn, Far From All Care, has been included in various Adventist hymnals. Remember, I said the one I showed earlier was the 1985 edition, so there are older ones, which is the newest one, the 1985. It appears as hymn, like we said, 394 in the Seventh-day Adventist hymnal, the 1985 edition. The hymn emphasizes on Sabbath observance, on creation, and on divine rest, as well as on worship. This hymn contrasts human forgetfulness of God with the faithfulness of the remnant as the book of Revelation described the remnant as those who keep the commandment of God and have the faith of Jesus Christ. So the remnant is a key theological theme in Adventism. The melody carries a solemn yet uplifting tone, fitting for a Sabbath worship setting. So, what is the meaning or the theological significance behind this hymn? Let's look at them and verse by verse. I can put them right here again. I have the hymn. I can put it here so you can see. In verse, the first verse, welcome the Sabbath as a time when nature itself praises God, reinforcing the Adventist belief in Sabbath as a divine institution from creation. Since the beginning of creation. In verse number 2, as we can see it, it acknowledges that humanity, despite its role in God's creation, often neglects Sabbath worship. So many people, even if you ask, do you know what the Sabbath is today? They may not know. They often neglect the Sabbath worship, but a faithful remnant remembers God's law. A faithful remnant remembers God's law. My prayer for me and for each one of you is that we be part of this remnant that do not neglect God's law, but rather embrace it and remember it. In verse 3, it calls on God to bring peace through his commandments. Let me say that again. This third verse calls on God to bring peace through his commandments. Now we can see a lot of turmoils in this world today. And the leaders of the great nations, they do not know what to do. They're talking about peace and trying to rally people together. But it is very difficult as people move away from God's law. It is difficult to find peace. So, true peace can really only be found in the obedience of God's law. So this verse calls on God to bring peace through his commandments and to restore the rest that was originally given in Eden. And the last verse of this song, of this hymn, the last verse expresses a desire for transformation in Christ's image and looks forward to the eternal Sabbath in heaven. Now, my friend, as you can see, this hymn is a staple in Friday evening or in Sabbath morning worship services in Adventist congregations. If you go through every single Adventist home, I pray that Friday at the set of sun, people are gathered to sing and to worship as we welcome the Sabbath, because according to the Bible, a new day does not begin at midnight, as many people, or the whole world, I would say, that's what they believe, that the time changed at midnight from one day to a different day. But in the light of the Bible, the new day began at the set of sun on every single day. So this is for this reason. You will see if you go to an Adventist home on Friday when the sun set, people they gather to worship, to welcome the Sabbath, because we believe the night portion comes before the day portion. So it is often sung, this hymn 394, Far from All Care. It is often sung with reverence and reflection also reinforcing the joy and peace of Sabbath observance. Its message aligns with the Seventh-day Adventist eschatology, which anticipates the ultimate Sabbath rest in heaven. Now, this hymn, I love it. That's why I love the hymn book. Everything that was done, the way the hymn was written, it was done with such care. So, what is the musical structure of this hymn? The hymn's melody is designed for congregational singing, which is a strong tradition in Seventh-day Adventist churches. So now, many places now, they're using the hymn book a little bit less and then embracing more contemporary music. I'm not saying there is anything wrong with that, but we should not put aside the hymn book because the message and it, the time in which it was written, it's very deep. If we take time to dive and to read through the messages that God communicate to us through these hymns. So we should not put it aside. The tune of this hymn is both solemn and uplifting, reinforcing the reverence of Sabbath worship. The song often starts gently but grows in strength. If you were to follow the musical edition of it, you'll see that it reflecting the building anticipation of Sabbath peace and a heavenly rest. But also another questions we can ask: what is the symbolism in the lyrics of this great hymn? There are several symbolic elements in the hymn that reflect Adventist theology. Like one of them, for example, waving fields and from the distant sea. Let me see if I can find a verse here and then put it for you. Waving fields. I'm trying to see which verse exactly this is. That's from verse 1, the second phrase right here. Waving fields and from the distant sea. This evokes imagery of nature singing in harmony, reflecting the belief that creation itself testifies to God's law and Sabbath in the light of Romans 1 verse 20. But also when you go to Psalms 19, the heavens, they declare the glory of God. If you were to go by the river, you can hear the sounds. By the oceans, and in the forest, the singing of the birds. I can tell you, nature sings the glory of God. Speak to our heart. Let's see. In another phrase again. I'm trying to find it here for you, right here in the third stanza. Speak to our hearts the peace of thy commandments. This one suggests that true peace. Speak to our hearts the peace of thy commandments. Suggests that true peace, not fake peace, not peace like for a couple of weeks or even a couple of years, but true peace comes from obedience to God's law, which is a fundamental Adventist teaching, my friend. True peace comes from obedience to God's law. There is no other way around it. As we see things going on, how is this prophecy being fulfilled each and every day? Didn't the Bible say that? You will hear of war and rumors of war. But it says that's not yet the end. But know that we are drawing closer to God. And it is time for us to be mindful. It is time for us to set time aside to really get our act well together with God, to study His words, to seek Him, and to serve Him by whatever means possible. Speak to our heart the peace of thy commandments. Yes, true peace can only be found through obedience to God's law. You see, when it is man that gives it, when it is man that give it, it does not last. It doesn't matter how many years pass by, something will happen. Because the reason is that by human nature, we love this thing called power, and we will do anything possible to have it, to remain in power. We will do anything possible. So you can see that even someone that was very kind, and then at some point, if you give them power, it says become in power, or through political, whatever. I mean, even sometime through the church, rise into some position, this person changed completely. But my friend, if we want peace, yes, the world can be in turmoil. The world can be the way it is today, but I can guarantee you, if you make it a priority to follow God's law, to obey it, that's when you have peace in your heart. This world does not really scare you, though scary as it can be, but you have the peace of God within you. Those you have God with you, and He says that He will be with us. There is another phrase. Let me locate this again. Right here in the third stanza, in the last phrase, breathe on each soul fair Eden's hallowed rest. This one refers to the Sabbath as a glimpse of Eden and a foreshadowing of the eternal Sabbath in heaven, according to Hebrews chapter 4, verse 9. There is another one. I love this one. Pearly gates. Let me see. Where is this stanza? Where is this stanza? Pearly gates. I'm sorry. I'm trying to locate this this uh, this phrase. Voila. Here in the fourth stanza, in the third line, and towards like the last portion of the third line, pearly gate eternal. Then may we enter pearly gate eternal. This is a reference to heavenly Jerusalem, according to Revelation 21, verse 21, emphasizing the final redemption and everlasting Sabbath. Far from all care, my dear brothers and sisters, my friends, is a deeply reflective and theologically rich hymn that captures the essence of the Sabbath as understood in Adventist theology. Its structured, poetic, and musical composition makes it easy to sing while carrying a message of divine rest, worship, and eternal hope. So you see, that's why it is important not to set aside the handbook. It's very rich and can truly help us to develop that deep connection we need with our Creator. So I am going to sing the hymn. I am going to sing the hymn. Um, I'm gonna sing it live. If you know it, you sing it with me, because it is a great hymn that I love. I love singing a lot. So I'll use my guitar and then sing this hymn before we transition to the other hymns, which is a French one. I can tell you. So when it is time to sing these songs, I cannot wait for the Sabbaths to come during the week. People are tired. You're tired, and you're looking forward to that date where I can set aside work, study for all of us who are students. Put study aside, and so we can truly spend this time to fully renew our mind, our body, and also our life with God. So Far from all care, we hail the Sabbath morning. Far from all care, we hail the Sabbath morning, air-waving fields, and from the distant sea, swell notes of praise in harmony resounding. As all creation turns her heart to thee. I shall go to the second stanza. Though man alone, Lord of thy great creation, fails now to love thee for thy love and power, yet still a remnant love thee and remember thy holy law and each sweet Sabbath day. Lord of the Sabbath, Savior and Creator, calm now the throbbings of each troubled breast. Speak to our heart the peace of thy commandments. Breathe on each soul, fair Eden's hallowed rest. Strong in thy might and quiet in thy meekness, may we thy image bear from day to day. Then may we enter pearly gates eternal and sing redemption song each Sabbath day. I hope that you were able to learn from this hymn, and may it be a source of blessing for you. So now we will transition to the French hymnal, the French hymn. Just before we transition to the French hymn, I would like to share with you a couple quotes from some of my favorite books. Let me share with you these quotes right here. In the book called Testimonies, Testimonies for the Church, I hope that you guys not having any problem to see. Testimonies for the Church, Volume 4, page 71, it says, music can be a great power for good. Music can be a great power for good. In the Book of Education, page 167, it says, music rightly employed. So meaning there is a way we can employ music wrongly. But music rightly employed is a precious gift of God, designed to uplift the thought, to high and noble themes, to inspire and elevate the soul. in the book of Evangelism, page 500, says song is one of the most effective means of impressing spiritual truth upon the heart. That's what it says. If you are sad, sing. Even if you cannot pray, sing. If you find yourself in situation, sing. And then you can see those very things that was depressing you, when you start singing hymn that elevate your soul to God, you feel like, oh, there is hope again. You feel all of a sudden strength, and then to keep on carrying on. So that is true, my friend. Song is one of the most effective means of impressing spiritual truth upon the heart. And our last quote is found in Patriarchs and Prophets, page 594. Music was made to serve a holy purpose. Okay, that can be another subject we come and talk about it later on. But music was made to serve a holy purpose, to lift the thought to that which is pure, noble, and elevating. So now the next hymn we gonna talk about, and I have to apologize in the beginning because this one I will not be singing it live, for I did record it earlier on, so I will just have it played by the end. And this hymn is number 171, des hymnes et louanges adventistes du septième jour. So this point on, I am switching to French for my English speaking friends. Quel bonheur, quand, faisant trêve, un moment à nos labeurs. Le numéro 171 des hymnes et louanges adventistes du septième jour. Cet hymne célèbre la joie et la paix trouvées dans le saint sabbat du septième jour. Chaque strophe met en évidence différents aspects des bénédictions du sabbat. Vous voyez, la première strophe, ici, le soulagement et le renouvellement spirituel ont vécu lorsque le saint sabbat commence. Tout au cours de la semaine, c'était très difficile, c'était fatigant, c'était dépressant. Mais quand est-ce que le sabbat arrive? C'est ça, la première strophe parle du soulagement et du renouvellement que l'on trouve lorsque le saint sabbat commence. Dans la deuxième strophe, aussi parle de la beauté de la nature glorifiant Dieu, en particulier et dans les mois d'été quand il fait un peu chaud. Et voyez ici, la troisième strophe fait un appel à la charité et à la compassion. Ah, l'Église! La troisième strophe, c'est un chant de sabbat, mais la troisième strophe fait un appel à la charité et à la compassion, en particulier pour les pauvres et ceux qui souffrent dans les mois d'hiver, quand il fait froid. Quand il fait froid, il y a beaucoup de personnes qui n'ont pas d'abri, qui n'ont pas de vêtements chauds, etc. So, c'est notre rôle, notre tâche d'aider ces personnes-là. La quatrième strophe met accent sur le culte de la famille paisible et l'étude biblique le soir. Et la dernière strophe, chers amis, met accent sur le sabbat d'ici-bas. Le sabbat d'ici-bas qui est juste un avant-goût du bonheur que nous aurons à vivre dans le ciel. Vous voyez cet hymne, quel bonheur, quand faisant trêve, le numéro 171, aurait été utilisé dans les services de culte du sabbat les dévotions familiales et peut-être même les rassemblements en plein air. Reflétons l'appréciation de la nature et de la communauté. L'accent mis sur la responsabilité sociale. Voyez, prendre soin des pauvres et des orphelins reflète l'éthique humanitaire de l'Église. Laisse-moi reprendre cette phrase. L'accent met sur la responsabilité sociale, c'est-à-dire prendre soin des pauvres et des orphelins, reflète l'éthique humanitaire de l'Église. Et aussi l'accent mis sur le culte familial renforce les valeurs adventistes des pratiques religieuses à domicile. Vous voyez le lien de l'hymne avec la nature, en particulier dans la deuxième strophe, s'aligne sur l'appréciation des adventistes de la création de Dieu, comme on le voit dans les enseignements d'Ellen White, et le plaidoyer de l'Église adventiste, même en matière de santé et de bien-être. Chers amis, dans l'ensemble, quel bonheur quand faisant trêve, c'est un hymne profondément significatif dans la tradition de l'Église adventiste du septième jour, célébrant le sabbat comme source de renouvellement spirituel, de joie et d'espoir. C'est la raison pour laquelle que nous devons chanter les hymnes de trouver dans les hymnes et louanges. Il ne faut pas mettre de côté l'hymne et louange, les hymnes et louanges. Il ne faut pas mettre de côté ce livre de chants pour embrasser seulement les chants contemporains. Ne faisons pas cette grave erreur, mais plutôt en nous chercher à apprécier, chers amis, tout dans ça que bon Dieu gagne disponible pour nous, pour renforcer notre vie spirituelle, pour renforcer notre marche avec Dieu, pour renforcer notre vie spirituelle. Embrassons cet écueil de chant. Et comme je l'avais dit, je ne vais pas chanter ce chant live, mais plutôt j'ai enregistré ce chant, ça fait quelque temps de cela, je vais faire jouer et ce thème, mais entre-temps, je vous remercie tous et d'avoir pris part dans ce live avec moi. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm gonna leave you, and this is a French hymn, quand faisant trêve, quel bonheur quand faisant trêve, et I hope to see you next Sabbath for our next live, for our next edition. Meanwhile, may God bless you and your family members. May the rest of the Sabbath day be a blessing to you, and the week that is coming ahead of us, I pray that God be our leader, God be our guide and our compass, and I pray that God be our refuge, our protector, and may we be drawn closer to Him more than ever before. De quel bonheur quand faisant trêve, un moment à nos labeurs. Quand faisant trêve, un moment à nos labeurs, l'aube du saint jour se lève dans le ciel et dans nos cœurs.
vers le matin plus légère, l'âme s'élève au Seigneur. Sur l'aile de la prière, quel bonheur, quel bonheur. Et la nature en fête élève ensuite sa voix. En temps où qu'on s'arrête dans les champs et dans les bois, l'oiseau, la fleur, le brin d'herbe chante aussi bien son auteur que la montagne superbe. Quel bonheur, quel bonheur. L'hiver, voici la demeure du pauvre et de l'orphelin, où l'on a foi, où l'on pleure, en prononçant le chemin, à soulager la souffrance, affairant leur triste cœur, lui un rayon d'espérance. Quel bonheur, quel bonheur. Le soir quand la lampe brille, mon lit où l'on cause un peu, puis le père de famille ouvre le livre de Dieu, et sous la garde invisible de son ange protecteur, le foyer s'endort paisible. Quel bonheur, quel bonheur. Oui, quel bonheur dans la vie, dans ses travaux, ses combats, que cette haute bénie, reflet du ciel ici-bas, en attendant au ciel même, dans la gloire du Seigneur, le jour du repos suprême. Quel bonheur.